Hello and welcome to Enchantment of Eternity's video for the Expanse Season 3 update and speculation. This video will not contain any spoilers from the novels, even though I finished reading the third book last night. So I'm going to talk about the books in vague terms. So if you're really sensitive, highly sensitive about spoilers, like for example, you don't even want to know a name of a character who hasn't been introduced into the show yet, then okay, you might not want to watch this video. But for those of you who aren't so finicky and don't mind, you'll be okay, because I'm not going to give away any story points or any specifics. I'm just going to talk about the books in very vague terms. And so there's not really that big of that much spoilers or news about Season 3 I can get into. In fact, those of you watching it, if you know any sites like similar to like Game of Thrones as Watchers on the Wall, I'm looking for sites like that for Expanse, but I haven't found anything because I think it's just not as popular as a show as Game of Thrones, so there's probably not like paparazzi sneaking photos on set like you have with Game of Thrones, which is actually good because I don't want to be spoiled too much, but it would be interesting to get some sort of speculation on it. I went to the Reddit forum for the Expanse, and I didn't really find anything that interesting there. So if you guys want to recommend a site I can go to that has some things about what we might expect in Season 3, go ahead and put it in the comment section below. But if there's no site like that, that's fine. Like I said, I don't mind being completely surprised for Season 3. But we do have some casting news that I want to talk about for Season 3, which is the biggest casting news. So, two bits of casting news. First of all, Elizabeth Mitchell joins the cast of The Expanse. Now, this news came out, and both of these news, I think, came out in July. So, this is not like breaking news or anything. I'm very late to the game on this, but I thought I'd make a video about it anyway. Elizabeth Mitchell, for those of you who don't know, she's appeared in other shows like V, and I think there was some other show they listed here, but I know her from Lost. She's Juliet from Lost. So those of you like myself who are fans of Lost, or even just watched Lost from the third season or past that, she played a main character called Juliet, which a lot of people liked. I personally didn't like Juliet, but I liked Elizabeth Mitchell. And so she will be joining the cast of The Expanse as a reoccurring character. Now, as soon as I heard that Elizabeth Mitchell was joining The Expanse, I thought, wow, she's going to play Anna. Because Anna is a character in Book 3, and Season 3 is going to start out with the end of Book 2, but then get into Book 3. So I was like, well, that makes perfect sense. But then I read this quote from the showrunners or whoever it was that announced it, that said that Elizabeth Mitchell will be playing a character that brings a new spiritual perspective to the series. I mean, and that's of course is Anna. They might as well just say that she's playing Anna. Now, some people speculate maybe it's a amalgamation of several characters, and it's not actually going to be Anna. But I'm pretty sure it's just going to be Anna, because Anna is a pastor. She's a minister. They call her Pastor Anna, is how she prefers to be called. In the novels, though, she has red hair, but still, for some reason, like as soon as I thought of that character, I thought of Elizabeth Mitchell. Like, I thought, wow, she would fit that perfectly. And also, she's Russian, so I don't know if she is playing that character, if she's going to put on a Russian accent, or they're just going to drop the whole Russian thing entirely. In fact, or they could just say she's Russian, but not with a Russian accent, maybe second generation or something. But, in fact, I can't pronounce her whole name. I won't try to butcher her whole name. The character's name is Ashford. Yeah, I can't do it. I couldn't do Avasarala at first either. It took me a while to get that, and I got the hang of it eventually, so maybe I'll get the hang of this character's name as well. But I just call her Anna, or Pastor Anna. I think Elizabeth Mitchell is pretty much set in stone that she's playing that character, and I think she'd be perfect for this role, whether or not she puts on the Russian accent or whatnot. So I'm very much looking forward to this. So the other piece of casting news is David Stratham, who's actually a well-known actor who's been in a lot of films, He starred in the Oscar-nominated film Good Luck and Good Night, directed by George Clooney, which is, I think it was in the 2005-2006 era, like that. And he's had guest appearances in tons of films. I think he was in the Bourne films. He was in Sneakers. You can look him up. He's been in tons of movies. Usually has like a supporting role. But he's going to be on The Expanse, which is big news. Now I cannot for the life of me think of what character he's going to play. So it's possible that either they're inventing a new character who's show specific, or they're bringing in a character from later books that I haven't read yet, because as I said, I only read up to the end of book 3, and I do know that the show has already brought in characters from later books earlier on in the show, so it's possible they could do that. If I was to get, like, my first guess of who was going to play was Admiral Suther, because I just read book 2 and had Admiral Suther was a important figure at the end of. But then I looked it up and I realized that Admiral Suther already appeared in season 2, so he's already been cast. And it's been a while since I've seen season 2. I didn't make that connection in my mind, so that's interesting. So that's off the table. So my next guess would be Captain Ashford, who is a somewhat important character in book 3. But I don't know. Like, I'm not even sure if they're going to have that character in season 3. I think they will. But yeah. But anyway, the official announcement didn't give us, giveaway clues like they did for Elizabeth Mitchell on what character he'd be playing. They just said that he would be playing an important character with a significant story arc. So that makes me think of Captain Ashford, but I could be wrong. I don't, like, at first I thought Bull, but it's not going to be Bull because he's described in the books as Hispanic, and the books usually like to stick to races when they're specified like that in the novels. I know there's some cases where they swap, but that's when it wasn't really that important. When it's really specified like that, they usually like to stick to it. And plus, he was about that age, but still, David Stratham doesn't strike me as, like, he was like a military, bulky, tough guy, and that is not at all what Stratham strikes me like. But I could buy him as Ashford, but maybe not. I don't know. Maybe Ashford was described as being younger. I'm not sure. So maybe I'm off on that. Maybe, I don't know. Leave your comments below what character. And that's what I'd like to, if you know any websites or message boards that do have this kind of fan speculation like this, because I was wanting to see what other people thought he was going to play, but I couldn't find anything like that. So yeah, any suggestions like that, put that in the comment section below. I'll check out these websites and message boards and put your suggestions on who you think. I don't know, maybe the fans have already figured this one out and I'm a bit slow to the game, but whatever. So basically those are the two important pieces of news that we know about season 3 so far. I don't know anything else about season 3 other than I can speculate based off of the books what's going to happen in season 3, and I will do videos for that eventually, but not for several months, because I actually want to finish reading up to the most recent book before I make any prediction videos about The Expanse, because like I said, like, Expanse has already brought in elements from future books, and we saw that they've already did this by introducing Avasarala in season 1 when she didn't actually appear until book 2. So they've been noted to bring in elements of later books, so I want to make sure I'm caught up to the last book. And those videos, of course, will be strictly book spoiler, so those will be sort of only for those who've read the books, unlike this video, which is fine. But I don't know. I don't know if I actually finish reading the books before season 3 comes out, so maybe I won't get a chance to do these prediction videos, but maybe I will. We'll see. We'll see how I go with reading the books. I read book 3 pretty fast because I really enjoyed it. So I'll get into more specific speculation there on what I think might happen. But I watched some interviews with the cast members from Comic-Con and asked them about season 3. And they were saying it's going to be a lot more action-packed. Everyone's saying it's going to be explosive. And that's actually in line with the end of book 2 and book 3. They're both very action filled. In fact, like, yeah, when I was reading book 2, I was actually thought like the first half of book 2 was kind of boring, and the second half is when it got really good. And season 2 actually just covered this first half of book 2, and I love season 2. I think season 2 was amazing. So if season 2 did that first half of book 2, which wasn't really that interesting, that great, just imagine what they're going to do with the second half of book 2. And the whole book 3 is like, maybe it starts out a tad bit slow, but for the most part, it is really also really action packed. So that's a vague spoiler. That's nothing the actors haven't said themselves. And also the actor who played Amos was, when they asked him about season 3, he said it's going to be a gateway. And everyone had that as a key word, and that's another, of course, key thing. If you've read the books, you know that book 3 is about a gateway. And again, this isn't spoilers. It's pretty, I mean, the whole book is freaking called Something's Gate. So, and yeah, so it is interesting. I do wonder, I think in my mind, I know exactly where, or I have a good idea. Not I know exactly, but I have a good idea where they're going to cut off book 3. Another thing interesting that I read is that apparently, and I didn't know this before, they have a 7-season plan for the show. And there's going to be 9 books in total. And so far, they're actually going through the books really slower. Like, they're not even doing 1 book for a season. They're behind. Like, they've done 2 seasons and they're only halfway through book 2. So, this has me worried that it's going to be the same like Game of Thrones, where the last 2 seasons are just going to speed through the storyline. But unlike Game of Thrones, like, they are going to have the source material to work at, because the authors have been very like clockwork, getting 1 book a year released, and book 7's coming out at the end of this year, so they're definitely going to have book 9 out before the show catches up to that, which is such a relief. But it does make me curious how they plan to do it in 7 seasons when there's 9 books, and so far they're actually going slower than the book series. And I do plan, and I'm going to start tomorrow, I plan on doing a book to show comparison for seasons 1 and 2, and this will be, again, spoiler free unless you're really finicky about book spoilers. You know, it will be accessible even if you haven't read the books, as long as you're not too finicky about stuff. I won't give away any specifics, but I'm going to go episode by episode of The Expanse and compare it to the books and point out the differences between the books. It will be spoiler for the books if you haven't read the books and you want to read the books, because I'm going to spoil the hell out of the books, but I won't spoil anything that hasn't happened in the show yet. Hopefully, not on purpose anyway. So that's going to be interesting. I'm going to start that tomorrow. And I'm going to go, and I won't be able to do it week to week, probably more like every 2 or 3 weeks until I have more spare time, because Discovery's on and Mr. Robot's coming on, so that's going to eat up a lot of my time. But once those shows finish, I'll have more time to get through them a bit quicker. But I'll try to hit out, go episode by episode of The Expanse and compare the novels. And there's a lot of changes, and the one important thing I am going to point out is that I think The Expanse is really unique in an adaptation, where it actually, especially of novels, like a lot of short stories, like adaptations do this, like Shawshank Redemption, but if you have an expansive novel series, this is really unique that they actually seem to be adding more than they're taking away. Like Game of Thrones, thinking like, oh, they left out these characters, they left out this plot point, they left out this scene. Where The Expanse, like, they do leave some things out, don't get me wrong, but they seem to be adding more. Like, they add a lot more scenes, especially in season 1, to try to make it more episodic. So they need to have a point of tension in an episode. They can't just have nothing happen in an episode that's like excitement or tension filled. So they add in a lot of plot points, they add in a lot of characters, which is cool. And like I said, they do a lot of things out of order. They add some characters and whatnot out of order. So I'll get all into that in my I was gonna do like one for each season, one video for season 1, one video for season 2, but then I realized I just had so much to say about it. Like, those videos would end up being an hour and a half, 2 hours long, and I don't want to do those long videos, so I thought it made a lot more sense to just go episode by episode and really look at each episode. And I'm looking forward to rewatching The Expanse as well, but I'm saving it to do this series. So then I'll remember stuff like Admiral Suther actually already appeared in season 2 and stuff like that. So great, that's all I have for now. I'll try to get that out tomorrow or as soon as I can. And yes, as I'm saying, I'm going to start covering The Expanse even more, even pre-season stuff. And I have a lot planned for once season 3 does hit. We still haven't had a release date, just the vague 2018. I mean, we're guessing it will be around February because that's when season 2 was released, but season 2 was released later than season 1, so it's possible that it will be released later, like maybe March or April. But it started filming in July, so if it started filming in July, you think it sounds about February, sounds about quite right to me anyway. Thank you so much for watching. Keep an eye out as I continue to do more Expanse videos on the channel coming up, and of course if you haven't seen The Expanse, go watch it. Anyway, thanks a lot for watching, and be sure to subscribe.